So, good day everyone. Hi, my name is Lekalin Tirabachola and I am one of the reporters on today's lesson. So, our lesson is all about anatomy and physiological of reproduction. So, from the word anatomy, we're going to talk about the study of body structure and the physiological of the reproduction system in both male and female.
Our lesson objectives is when you finish reading this chapter, you should be able to first differentiate the female and the male reproductive systems and understand the basis for physiologic process in female and males.
So, humans experience various physical and emotional changes from childhood to adulthood. These changes are gradual and progress at different ages and speed in different people. Pasensya na po sa manok. So, kayo ba? May napansin ba kayong changes sa body nyo? Like, sa girls, yung hips nyo, structures ng body nyo, yung height nyo, lumaki pa ba kayo, hindi na, tsaka yung weight nyo din. Same din sa mga lalaki, like yung voice nyo, mga pubic hair na naglalabasan sa iba't ibang parte ng pangatawan nyo, may ganun din bang nangyari sa inyo? So, how about sa emotions nyo naman? Like, meron din bang nagbago? So, lahat ng naitanong kong yun kasama yun sa stages on human growth and development from childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and old age.
So, this chapter focuses on the adolescent stage of human development, which is characterized by dynamic changes in physical and behavioral traits. So, despite ng pagkakaiba in physical appearance and sexual organs ng babae at isang lalaki, meron pa ding body part na same structure and nagfulfill ng similar function. And each person has a pair of gonads. Gonads is an organ that produces a testes or ovary. And ovaries are female gonads while testes are male gonads. The gonads produce germ cells and sex hormones. The female germ cells are ova, which is other term is egg, and the male germ cells are sperm. Once na nagsama yung ova and sperm, it can lead to the creation of new life. Kasi ova and sperm are the basic units of reproduction.
So, first, we're going to determine the biological female. The biological female is anatomy, the study of body structure in relation to body parts. The female sexual anatomy is designed for the production and fertilization of ovum. Again, what is ovum? Ovum or an egg cell is a female reproductive cell that fuses with sperm in the process of fertilization. Yung ovum is the egg cell. Tandaan po, ovum and egg cell ay iisa. So, ovum as well as carrying and delivering infant offspring. Dito din po na bubuo or hindi pala nabubuo. Ito po yung nagdadala and dito din po lumalabas yung baby. So, puberty signals the final development of primary and accessory organs that support reproduction. So, vulva is a female private parts. The vulva is the global term that describes all of the structures that make the female external genitalia. The components of the vulva are the mons pubis, mons veneris, labia majora, labia minora, vestibule, urethral opening, vaginal opening, clitoris, prepuce, and perineum. So, mons pubis, or also known as mons veneris, a pods of fatty tissue between pubic bone and the skin. And labia majora is the outer lips surrounding all the other structures, is the outer lips of the vagina. Labia minora is the inner lips surrounding the vestibule. Labia minora is the inner lips of vagina and it's surrounding the vestibule. Vestibule is the area surrounding the urethral opening and vagina, which is highly sensitive with extensive blood vessels and nerve endings. The urethral opening is at the end of the tube connecting to bladder and used for urination. Dito lumalabas yung ihi natin. Vaginal opening is also called as introitus, and clitoris, gins heads or shaft, and crura, root. The clitoris is particularly sensitive to stimulation. Clitoris is a small structure with sensitive nerve endings located within the labia minora, the sole purpose of which is for sexual arousal and pleasure. Prepuce is the clitoral hood, the foreskin above and covering the clitoris, and perineum, an area of skin separating the genitalia from the anus, and the distance is less in females than males. Perineum, ito yung skin which na nagsiseparate sa genitalia from the anus. Makikita niyo naman yan sa picture. So, yeah.
Good day to each and everyone. I am Erica May Baksain and I'm going to tackle about the female internal reproduction structures consist of the following as described and shown below. The first one is vagina. It is collapsible canal extending from vagina, opening back and upward into body to cervix and uterus. During the arousal, it is engorged with blood. This aids its expansion and triggers the release of lubricants from vaginal mucosa. The second one, cervix. Small end of uterus to which vagina leads. It is the opening in cervix leading to interior of uterus. Uterus, womb, organ within pelvic zone where fetus is carried. The fallopian tubes carry egg cells from ovaries to uterus. This is where fertilization occurs. Ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen influences female sex characteristics and initiates menstrual cycle. Progesterone aids in regulation of menstrual cycle and promotes mature development of uterine lining to allow for zygote implantation. Vagina is an elastic muscular tube about 7.5 and 9 cm long. It is located in the pelvis part between the bladder and the rectum. The vagina is an important part of the reproductive anatomy. It connects the uterus and cervix to the outside of the body for menstruation, intercourse, and also childbirth. So let's come up now with the cervix. 2.3 centimeters, 0.8 and 1.2 inch in the length, so it also allows fluid to leave and enter in the uterus. During childbirth, the cervix widens so that a baby can be born. Cervix is also vulnerable to HPV infections that can cause cervical cancer. Next is uterus. The uterus is a pear-shaped organ in the reproductive system of people assigned female at birth. This is where a fertilized egg implants during pregnancy and where the baby develops until birth. It's also responsible for the menstrual cycle. Uterus is a female reproductive organ that is responsible for many functions in the process of implantation, gestation, menstruation, and also the labor. Next is fallopian tube. It is a bilateral conduit between the ovaries and the uterus in the female pelvis. It's also important passageway for an egg and sperm cell to meet and to fertilize egg embryo to make its way direct to uterus. And the last one is the female internal reproduction, the ovaries. This is where to produce and store the eggs, also called the ovum, and make hormones that will control our menstrual cycle and the pregnancy. So, during the ovulation, one of the ovaries releases an egg. If nag-meet na yung si sperm and egg, then it'll become pregnant. Ang ovaries natin ay nagpapatuloy pa din ng pag-release ng eggs each menstrual cycle natin. So, till we reach the menopause. So, let's proceed to the next slide. It is puberty. The menstrual cycle marks the beginning of puberty in females. The first episode occurs between 11 to 15 years of age, referred to as menarche. So, puberty, as you can see in the picture, makikita nyo talaga ang pagbabago sa ating katawan. Both male and female, they become sexually mature. Physical changes and affects boys and girls differently. Actually, for girls, the first sign of puberty, usually our breast. Kahit sa elementary pa lang, mapapansin na natin yung pagbabago sa ating breast. Let's proceed to the menstrual phase. This occurs if the ovum is not fertilized and does not implant itself into the uterine lining. The continued high levels of estrogen and progesterone causes the pituitary to stop releasing follicle stimulating hormone or FSH and luteinizing hormone or LH. So, as you can see in the picture is the menstrual cycle or the menstrual phase. The menstrual cycle begins on the first day of menstruation and lasts till the 5th day of the menstrual cycle. Sabihin na natin na 5 days yung normal na menstrual but some of girls inaabot ito ng 9 days, which is abnormal. The menstrual cycle has 4 phases: the menstruation, the follicular phase, ovulation, and the luteal phase. Some women may experience menstrual cycle. The best example for this is the heavy bleeding. And now the proliferative phase. This occurs when the hypothalamus stimulates the pituitary gland to release FSH that stimulates the ovaries to produce estrogen and causes the ovary to mature in ovarian follicles. Endometrium is repaired, thickens, and becomes well vascularized in response to increasing levels of estrogen. The secretory phase, it occurs when the pituitary gland release LH that causes the ovary to release a mature ovum and causes the remaining portion of the follicle to develop into the corpus luteum. The corpus luteum then produces progesterone. Endometrial glands begin it secrete nutrients and lining becomes more vascular and responds to increasing level of progesterone. So let's proceed to the female secondary sexual characteristics emerge after the puberty. So the first one is the widening of hips and pelvis. So it accommodates giving birth but also results in downward shift in center of gravity. And the last one is the enlargement of breasts. At the puberty, both the glandular and fatty tissues on the breasts develop considerably. Differences in breast size between women are primarily due to differences in the amount of the fatty tissue. So, the widening of hips and the pelvis, well, it's a part of the female pubertal processes, and sex hormones and female estrogen causes a widening of the pelvis as a part of sexual differentiation. Actually, ang palatandaan ko palagi sa mga babae na buntis ay yung hips talaga nila, kasi makita mo talaga yung pagbabago sa hips nila compare noon, di ba? So, the enlargement of breast, when the ovaries start to produce and release the secret estrogen, fat in the connective tissues starts to collect. This causes the breasts to enlarge. The duct system also starts to grow. Often these breast changes happen at the same that pubic hair and the armpit hair appear. This hormonal alteration can result in an enlargement of your milk glands and breasts, ducts, along with other changes in your body. Additionally, it can cause water retention, which would make the breasts swell more. When your period begins, PMS-related symptoms usually start to subside. So, more female characteristics. The first one is generally shorter than men, greater proportion of body weight composed of fat than men. 2X chromosomes reduces expression of many sex-linked conditions, and the lower mortality at every age and longer projected lifespan than men. So that's all for me. Thank you for listening, and let's proceed to the next reporter, the biological male by Miss Danica.
The biological male. The biological male. The male sexual anatomy is designed for the production and delivery of sperm for fertilization of the female's ovum. Puberty signals the final development of primary and accessory organs that support reproduction. When we say male sexual anatomy, or the male reproductive system, contains internal and external parts. The internal parts are inside your body, and external parts are outside your body. Together, these organs help you urinate, have sexual intercourse, and make biological children. So, what does the male reproductive system do? Or ano yung role ng male reproductive system? The first one, produce, maintain, and transport sperm cells and semen. Sperm cells are male reproductive cell. Semen is the protective fluid sperm. The second one is discharged sperm. The third is produced and secrete the male sex hormones. Okay, let's come now to the male external organ. This consists of the following structure. Number 1, prepuce, foreskin covering head of penis, remove in male circumcision. So, madali lang po ito. Ito daw yung nire-remove during circumcision. The next one is penis. Penis is the male organ for sexual intercourse. It contains many sensitive nerve endings, and it has 3 parts. May 3 parts daw yung sensitive nerve ending: the roots, body, and the glands. Yun po yung tatlo. Yung roots is the base of your penis. The body or shaft has the shape like a tube or cylinder. It consists of 3 internal chambers. The 2 largest chambers are corpora cavernosa, and the 3rd chamber is corpus spongius. Third chamber is corpus spongiosum. The 3rd na sensitive nerve ending is glans or head. It's a cone-shaped tip of the penis. Ayon sa study suggests that the average penis is about 3.5 inches or 8.9 cm when flaccid or soft. and a more than 5 inches or 13 centimeter wing area. Next is corona, rim of glands where it arises from shape. The next is frenulum, thin strip of skin connecting glands and shaft on underside of penis. The next one is it looks like a small V just below the head. Usually part of it remains after circumcision. And for many people, it's very sensitive of skin that hangs behind the penis. Scrotum protects your testicles and provide a sort of climate control system. Dali lang po yung scrotum. Ano siya? Sack of skin na pinoprotektahan niya yung testicles. Next is urethral opening. Found on the head of penis. This is the end of tube connected to bladder and used for urination. So the urethral opening, the final passageway for the flow of urine, a thin walled tube that conveys urine from the floor of the urinary bladder to the outside. Next is perineum, area of skin separating the genitalia from the anus. Distance is greater in males than females. Perineum also protects the nerves used to urinate to or have erection. It is the area between the anus and the scrotum. Let's come now the male internal reproductive organ. Number 1 is testes. Produce androgen, particularly large quantities of testosterone, which greatly influence male development and drive sexual motivation. Also produce sperm cells and virtually unlimited quantity the entire course of the lifespan. Testes are two small organs that found inside the scrotum. The testes are responsible for making sperm and also involved in producing a hormone called testosterone. Vas deferens travels from testicle toward urethra carrying sperm. This is a thick walled tube joined to the epididymis. It carries sperm from the epididymis up to the prostate gland and urethra. Seminal vesicles, two glands that produce alkaline fluid rich in fructose sugar. Attached self-propulsion and sugar may provide sperm nutrients. During carry fluid can connect with vas deferens forming ejaculatory duct. This seminal vesicle, a part of anatomy that typically considered the two seminal are glands that produce the fluids that will turn into semen. The vesicles may also be called seminal glands or vesicular glands. The next one is ejaculatory duct. Connect vas deferens to urethra. Next is prostate gland. The prostate is a small gland in men that helps make semen. Next is urethra. Is the tube that lets urine leave your bladder in your body. Next, the testosterone is a major male hormone, mainly by the testes. But there are other adrenal glands that also produce some testes in case a man has lost his testes. These glands continue to produce testosterone to support physical appearance. Testosterone is responsible for growth and development of boys and adolescents, and for the development of secondary sexual characteristic. So, yung testosterone, ito daw yung male hormones ng boy. Ang testosterone din daw ay response for growth and development of boy and sa adolescents. The last part are male secondary sexual characteristics that emerge after puberty. No monthly cycle unlike sa girl. Elongation of vocal cords or lower voice. Broader shoulders and deeper chest cavity.